we got a big game to talk about this week. Split Fiction. My God. I mean, when we saw the trailer at the Game Awards, I thought it was pretty clear that Split Fiction was going to be a big deal, right? You saw like It Takes Two, that was their previous game, and it like still will pop up trending on Instagram because some husband and wife were playing it. But this week, Split Fiction launched, and I think it's worth noting, this has a ton of accolades. The first game from EA in 13 years to get a 90 plus Metacritic. The last game to do that was Mass Effect 3. Eat your heart out, Madden. Big deal. Big deal for Split Fiction. And let's start breaking down some of these reviews, right? VG247 gave the game a 5 out of 5. Digitech gave the game a 5 out of 5. Eurogamer gave Split Fiction a 5 out of 5. Variety came out of nowhere and said, we talk about gaming too. And they gave it a 5 out of 5. And then my personal favorite publication, Inverse, gave the game a 5 out of 5. But let's not forget GameSpot. GameSpot's Jessica Cogswell, I wrote it down because it was so good. They gave the game a 10 out of 10, saying Split Fiction could very well be the best cooperative game I've ever played. At the very least, I firmly believe it sets a new standard for the genre, and yet it's more than that. Split Fiction is a love letter to creativity, to stories, games, and the people who make them. It's funny, dark, joyous, childish, tender, cheesy, thrilling, and remarkable. All this combined, and gorgeous environments, fantastic gameplay, and sheer spectacle make Hazelight Studios' newest release an early contender for the best game of 2025. High praise from GameSpot's Jessica Cogswell right there. A lot of big praise coming from the video game industry. Now, I, for one, have not played it. I was not sent a review copy, which no hard feelings. I understand. You can't give out free copies to everyone, but one day we will get a review copy for a video game like this. And I gotta say, I'm gonna be playing it this weekend, right? The game is installing on my PlayStation. I'm really excited to jump into it. It's a multiplayer game, so I gotta find my number 2. And I might try to convince the wife to play it with me. You know, she's not the biggest gamer, but I think all the Instagram clips of like It Takes Two gives me hope to be like, if their wives can play it, my wife can play it. And you know, my kids aren't old enough, they're not big enough to play a game like this, so I gotta find someone to play it with, and I'm sure she'll step up to the chart. But I do think one thing that was super interesting about the Split Fiction reveal or launch or review week, if you want to give it that, was that the game's director, Joseph Fares, which, how can you not like that guy? But Joseph Fares came out and he did like a Q&A where he basically like answered the internet's questions. And one of them was basically someone saying like, dude, I love the fact that this game has no microtransactions and loot boxes. And Joseph Fares, just kind of building my appreciation for him, had a really interesting comment to this. So let's like pull this up.
No loot boxes, no microtransactions, no bullshit. Words to live by, my man. Of course. And that goes for everything we do at Hazelight. I think those kind of shits affects the design of how the game should be done. Every time you take a decision, a design decision taken on you making more money in the game, I think it's a huge problem and it's stopping our industry from a creative perspective.
Round of applause for Joseph Fares for that one. I think, look, at the end of the day, I understand everybody needs to get paid, right? People need to put food on their plates, they need to buy clothes, they need to pay their bills. I'm all for that. But there was something really good about the world of gaming when, like, you bought the game and you got the game and you played it and then you were done. Like, you weren't bombarded with like, look at this new skin, you gotta buy it, or like, look at this new ammo pack, don't you want to look cool, or hey kids, don't you want to play as Peter Griffin and Rick from Rick and Morty? Like, gaming was so much simpler back in the day. So to have a developer who's like, yep, I'm aware of it, I see it, I'm aware of kind of like the negative effects that this having on gaming. And I hate to use this word, but it feels like the video game industry has almost been hijacked by like, let's make as much money as possible. And again, I respect making money. Everyone has to pay their bills. But to have a developer who's like, nah, dude, putting microtransactions and putting loot boxes into your game, it changes everything. I think that's a big W to know that there are still game developers out there, not only on the indie scene, but also in like the big scale launch scene that are still having this feeling. Big win and a big W for gamers. Now, during the same video, Joseph Fares also kind of pushed back He was accused of being too woke. And let's hit that clip real quick.
Another feminism propaganda. So what the fuck is this? I guess that somebody are reacting that there are two women. Let me say this. In Brothers, there were two guys. In A Way Out, there were two guys. In It Takes Two, there were one guy, one woman. And now there are two girls and everybody's complaining. Come on, man. I mean, let's face it, man. And it's also like based on my daughters. I don't care what you have between your legs. That's totally not interesting for me. Good characters is what's important.
And I think that's important right there, right? Good characters are important. And that's what's honestly like drives me so crazy right now about like the year 2025 and just the lunacy of the internet. Because legit, I feel like there's this woke witch hunt pendulum that is going across the internet, and like it's completely swung in the opposite direction. Because at first that pendulum was like way too far in this direction, and people were like, your game's not woke enough. There's no representation. And the internet was kind of like, hold up, let's reel that in real quick because you're going way too far in that direction. And then the pendulum with all of its momentum goes in this direction to the point where like gamers are like, your game has a girl? You're far too woke. And meanwhile, I'm standing here in the middle as like just nobody that has like a say in either of this being like, guys, we're going too far on both sides. Like, it's okay to have a video game that's about a woman. It's okay to have a video game that's about a man. As long as the story is good, as long as the gameplay is good, as long as the narrative makes sense, that's all we want from gaming. You don't need to go this far in this direction to make a good game, and God forbid, definitely don't go too far in that direction. Just stay right here in the center. Make games that are normal, and to hear that kind of echoed by Joseph, I mean, it's a big win, again, for gaming that we have developers out there that's like, if it's a man or a woman, it's not the issue. The matter is the game good? That is what matters. If the story hits, if the gameplay is good, and the characters resonate with you, that is all that matters. So kindly shut the fuck up. Now, the rest of this video is pretty much Joseph just responding to criticism, kind of joking around with some fans, but he also teased what is next for Hazelight Studios.
You said single player game already dead. You're like Peanut who forgot its skin. Don't drown like wait, what the fuck? Peanut who forgot its skin. I don't even understand. But when have I said single player is dead? And I've never said that. That's total bullshit. And here's the thing. Hazelight's first game is actually a single player game. And look, even if Hazelight will always have a co-op DNA all the time, I keep saying you never know about the future. Single player is not an impossibility for Hazelight, but it will be done in a Hazelight way. So that's probably, you got it wrong, my man. And the peanut who forgot its skin, I don't even know what that is. I mean, sound kind of dirty to me, my man.
Peanuts who have forgot their skin. Is that something that people say? And I guess the other question I have is like, are we talking about peanuts or are we talking about the peanuts? Because I would like to speak on behalf of the entire internet and say, I don't want to see Charlie Brown without skin, right? I'm not trying to just see like a corpse of Charlie Brown kicking a football. I don't think anybody wants to see that. So let's keep the skins on the peanuts, please. But in all seriousness, Hazelight Studios is in such a rare place right now, right? If you look at their catalog of games and you look at the legacy that they are leaving in the video game industry, they have such a great collection of games. Like I know people are going to get upset by me saying this, but at the same time, I now put Hazelight in the same conversation as Naughty Dog. Because with Naughty Dog, it doesn't matter what the game is. It doesn't matter what the game is about. It doesn't matter how long it is or if it's a multiplayer or single player game. As long as it has the Naughty Dog logo on it, I am playing that video game. Hazelight as a studio has reached such a level of craft that I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to play this game. I'm going to go buy Split Fiction. I'm going to go play it. And I think just based off their catalog of games, I'm all in. And I cannot wait to see what they do next. If it's a single-player game for Hazelight, I'm sure they're going to kill it. I'm sure a single-player video game from Hazelight will be absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to see it. So anyway, that's our game of the week. It's Split Fiction. Definitely check it out. Let me know in the comment section if you played it. When you play it, come back in and tell us if it's good, where your score is. And before we end it, shout out to Joseph and his entire team at Hazelight for a super successful release week. I hope your game goes on to see all the success in the world and it sells millions. Now,